Hello everyone, welcome back to Hills and Hollers Homestead. Homesteader Mike again, and it is 4 weeks now since I put the bone sauce out here around the gardens, and no deer. So thankfully we've not had any problems with the vegan predators attacking the poor defenseless plants. Sorry about that. Anyways, poor joke. So even with all the rain and stuff that we've had, and yes, we're about to get more, this bone sauce that I just put on these steaks right here, not this one, but in the last video you see like this steak here and this one over here, and that is the pigs, not my belly, by the way, and up around the corn and stuff like that, has held up through all the rain. So that's a plus on everything. So it's working great, and that's that's one less project I had to take upon myself, is to come out here and build more fence to surround the corn. Now I did get this cut up here, out there. I got all that heavy grass, brush and stuff cut out of there, and I got to get this just this old brush pile here out. And what I'll do is I'll just pull the logs out of it and then spread the rest of the stuff around there. And next year this all, hopefully the plan is, becomes sweet corn up through here. So I'll do this whole area in sweet corn up here, and I'll extend this out a little bit more, and then I'll take this and connect. All of this will get tilled, and the hard corn like the Reed's Yellow Dent and the Bloody Butcher will stay for the pigs. We'll replant it, but then I'm going to plant some sweet corn out through here to sell opposite too, just to put some money in the kids' piggy banks, get them kind of interested in it. I mean, you know, my boy, he's kind of into Cub Scouts, and it's a good organization, don't get me wrong, but I'd much rather see him and my daughter both into 4-H. So I'm going to look at more inclusion into that and less into the scout thing, because, well, it is what it is. I'm not going to force them to do anything they don't want to do, but I would like to get them involved in 4-H because they both love animals and everything. And hopefully this is what they come into, you know, as they get older, because I hate to do all this daggone work and my kids want to be city kids. All right. So, a new term that I learned here recently was called food sovereignty. And if you've not read about this, look it up. It's a pretty cool concept. It's a pretty simple concept, basically, that all humans have a right to food. Problem we run into today is that all of our food is controlled by corporate agencies and corporate business and stuff like that. That is, they are the largest producers. You got big corporate food, I'll throw some names out there, like Kellogg's, you know, things like that, that have big monopolies on you know, global food stuff. And with the pandemic and everything kind of breaking into the supply chain and screwing everything up like it did, it just brought it more about just, you know, the understanding and the recognition of that kind of stuff. And really what it all falls down to is food sovereignty is something that we should really pursue and push with our elected officials, because it allows local people, it allows us to grow food in a very sound, what they refer to as an ecologically sound, in a sustainable manner, making sure it's clean, it's grown here, it's grown locally, it's produced locally, it's prepared locally, and we're not using a bunch of chemicals and stuff on it to either kill off the weeds or kill off the bugs and stuff. And it's actually also culturally appropriate type foods, because if you look at like the Appalachian region, if we go back to like ancestral ways of eating or ancestral diet, we should be eating what we can grow locally here seasonally and what's available to us seasonally. So, you know, spring and summer months, we're going to be eating what we can grow in our gardens into the fall. And we're also going to be eating berries as they come on, and you know, apples and all the fruits and stuff like that as they come on. And then in the wintertime, what we haven't, oh boy, some thunder, what we, you know, haven't stored for the winter, as in like our tuber vegetables and canned and stuff like that, we would be eating more meat and the wild game and stuff. And that is, probably food sovereignty isn't something that would probably take too kindly to the hunting and the consuming wild game. Maybe they would, maybe they wouldn't, I don't know. In the U.S. anyways, I'm sure globally, you know, other parts of the world they would. But it's definitely something that I would look to, you know, because deer and rabbits and squirrels and local fish and stuff like that. So food sovereignty is a really cool concept, even though it's a very simple, basic concept, because it just builds on the basic idea that, you know, humans should have a right to food. We have a right to food. We have a right to clean, healthy food that that should be available to us. I'll take that a little step farther and say that we should also encourage our elected officials to not only start to work towards some food sovereignty, but also work towards relaxing our cottage laws. And cottage laws is like the selling of prepared goods from home. So if we bake bread, we can go sell it to somebody, or trade it for this, trade it for that, without fear of reprisal from the government. Canned goods, you kind of got to be careful simply because of the botulism risk and that kind of stuff. But after, and even that even includes like farm processed animals, locally farm processed animals, so like the chickens that we raise and process here, that we can sell and trade and barter with local people with that as well, because it is a local sustainable product. But you have to have a license to do that here in the state. Though in the state of West Virginia, you can process up to 20,000 chickens a year and up to 20,000 rabbits a year right on your own farm without having a facility and without requiring an inspection. Now once you hit 20,001, you're kind of up against the wall at that point. But that's a lot of chickens. That's a lot of chickens. That's a lot of rabbits. So you could do that, but you have to have an LLC license. You have to have a business license. You really should have liability insurance just to protect you from that. But that's why we kind of stepped away from it, is because the cost of liability insurance just completely shot up at, right about the time that we started our LLC to sell our chickens and stuff. But the global supply chain has proven to be very weak and very non-sustainable, pretty much in light of the pandemic and everything that occurred with that, and with the economy like it is, and not just here in the U.S. or locally here, but globally the economy is just failing all over the place. There's not one country that's flourishing. Though some people say Russia's getting a lot of money from their natural gas and their oil and stuff, and they probably are. But as far as that goes, their economy's in shambles. China's economy is about to crash. So it is a global issue. And those people who don't and can't raise or produce their own and are dependent wholly on the consumer system of the grocery stores, markets, and things like that, well, when the money runs out, what are you going to do? You're going to have to barter and trade, or you're going to have to rob and steal. And barter and trade is a hell of a lot safer, especially around an area like this, because you really don't want to go robbing and stealing in the hollow, believe me. And I know a lot of you know that. But food sovereignty is definitely something. And I mean, I'm not going to take it to the steps where I think some of it goes. You kind of have to watch the radicalization of that. And I'm not saying it should be low key. It should just be something that's approached with common sense, with a natural, approach. Just saying, hey, you know what? We can grow this here. I can grow corn. I'll trade you so much corn for this, or I'll sell my corn for that. And without the heavy hand of government on our backs and on our necks and stuff like that, because we have sales tax in the state of West Virginia. We used to have a food sales tax. It was up to 6%, and they done away with the food sales tax. But then they turned around, in the non-food sales tax, they increased up to 7% to kind of help offset the loss of the 6% food tax. So they can't tax the product, and of course they can't regulate what we produce and grow and produce here on our property, or what others do. But it's something to definitely look forward to, to pursuing and talking about further, and getting a good discussion going with our elected officials to try to get this kind of stuff, implemented and stuff and changed around here. Kind of loosen things up a little bit. Even when I talked to the Department of Agriculture, the deputy commissioner, he told me, he said, we're just not seeing the foodborne illnesses and stuff with the local stuff, even the on-farm processing of animals and selling in farmers markets and everything that you would expect you would see, or that you would think you would see. He said, we're just not seeing it. He said, we hadn't even had one case of it at the time that I talked to him. I turned around here, and I just was reading the news the other day, and here we go. We got 30 people sick. Ohio-Michigan border there, like 30 people ended up getting sick, and they think that it was come from romaine lettuce from a Wendy's. And they got E. coli. And then now there's another outbreak, and I can't remember what it was from, but it's a pretty big one to recall now. It's a listeria. So it's like at least weekly and more than once a week, we're seeing, recalls and warnings on food contamination and stuff because of big corporate practices and stuff, and contamination and everything. So, we want to see our foods locally. We want to see our foods produced locally, raised locally, and everything. You want to eat the foods that you can get locally and that are produced sustainably and stuff. And that way, they're clean and they're healthy. And that's always better for us in the long run. But food sovereignty, definitely something we need to look at. Right there's my food sovereignty. That's part of it anyways. These pigs are wonderful. They're growing great. I couldn't be happier with these pigs, and not that I'm highly experienced in growing pigs, as this is our first run, or first time, but I really like this breed. They're a pretty docile breed, and they're doing exactly what we want them to do. And they are actually, this is the perfect breed for forest raising and stuff, and they're really doing a good job in there cleaning that stuff up. So look it up, food sovereignty, pretty cool information. A lot of it's going to depend on the website or where you get the definition from as to what it entails, but I think it's pretty much all inclusive of the fact that, you know, food is a basic human right, and it needs to be grown sustainably, ecologically sound and friendly, and not loaded with chemicals and stuff. But I'll leave you guys with that. I'm going to get in here before this storm rolls across the mountain and gets me wet. I hate to just get my hair wet again. Daggone it, I just got it all fixed up today. And anyways, I want you to keep working to starve that system before that system starves you. Get prepared, stay prepared, take care, and God bless.